We need to be able to have conversations without feeling like we're going to say something that gets us thrown in jail because people happen to be offended.
Skepticism. Do you know what you believe?
All right, dudes, we are live with another episode of Poll Results. We got some awesome polls to go through. We got Jordan Peterson versus Richard Dawkins IQ poll results, destructive ideology, your worst habit, and a lot more. Just going to turn my self down a little bit here. Feel free to join me on Discord. There we go. Someone's saying there's a problem with the mic. Let me just take a quick look. But they spelt it Mike like, hey, Mike, how's it going, dude? I'll fix that. I just got to shut down OBS and relaunch it. All right, we should be good now. Yeah, there we go. Now I can shut that off. Welcome. All right, looks like we got Hangin' Chad, the Ultimate Pope, and Vivek. Wow. One of Nivik's biggest fans. Thanks, Kiris. Make sure you guys drop a like when you get into the room here. We're going over the most recent poll results. For those of you on Discord, you can follow along on the screen I am sharing. Let me pull up my window. Okay, here we go. Well, let's start with the most recent, I think. Let's see what we got. Oh, this was interesting. We talked about this a bit last night. We got this picture of a little girl. I am 5. My body is my body. Don't force me to kiss or hug. So we got into this last night. These parents that still kiss their children on the lips at age like after the kid has hit puberty and, even into like their 20s and 30s. What do you guys think about that? Let me know in the comment section. Do you think that's strange that parents are kissing their children on the lips at this age? And should they be kissing their children on the lips at any age? Let me know what you guys think about that. Make sure you drop a like. Really helps the stream out. If you're feeling really generous, do share it. But mostly I want to hear your guys' comments. So I am 5. My body is my body. Don't force me to kiss or hug. We had some people last night in our discussion that were like, it's not a big deal. It's your kids and, it's a good way to show affection and to show that you care and things like that. But then you start getting into the thing like, okay, well, how you start getting into focusing on the details, like how long of a kiss is too long? When is a kiss too much when it's your own child? So we got into that a bit last night on Discord, which was quite interesting. Stefan Travis in the comment section says, your challenge today is to find someone who says a 5-year-old should be forced to kiss or hug. So force, it's like if the kid's saying, no, I don't want to, and then like the mother grabs the kid by the cheeks and kisses them a few times on the lips. Some say no harm, no foul. And others say, well, that's sick. What? Why are you doing that? The kid does not want to kiss you, you ugly fuck. No, but it's more, and then like the hugging thing seems less intrusive. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comment section. I really want to get your guys' take, because there are some people out there, and I would say there's a lot less people who think that this is okay and that do this with their kids. I think it's a lot different if your kid is like, 2, 3, 4 years old. Maybe people have the urge to kiss their kid on the lips. I can't relate to that. I don't know why they would want to kiss their kid on the lips. I could see kissing their forehead, their cheek, at that age. But after that, I'm not going to be kissing my kids, so far as I can tell, unless someone can give me a really good argument as to why I need to be kissing my kids. Richard Bishop says, nah, but they're going to clean their rooms, ! My kids must like me. I have to run to keep them, or my kids must like me. I have to run to keep them from hugging me. My 5-year-old does hug attacks when I'm not looking, thinks it's hilarious, screaming hug attack and mauling me. Yeah, I think that seems like pretty, normal behavior. I'm sure a lot of fathers can relate to that. So hug attacks. What about this thing though, Richard? And I know you're not here. I'm talking to a wall here, but what about when people, when it's like, you have to give mommy a hug or a kiss right now? Get over here. Get over here. What do you think about that? I'm going to read a couple comments in the, we got Alexander in here again. He's our resident therapist, giving us all therapy 24/7 on the Pangburn Discord. Hashtag non-spons. Well, let's first go to, before we get to Alex, Glitch Gamer says, kissing kids on lips is disgusting, I guess. Also sad from the child's perspective. Well, the child doesn't really know like the other connotations regarding kissing necessarily at that age, but they're going to start seeing it in like Disney films and on their favorite like family friendly comedy or something. They're going to see like people who are in love with each other kissing, or mommies and daddies kissing and things like that. And then, but some families do it. Like I've seen young girls, and I'll get you guys in Discord to jump in here for a bit, but I've seen young girls, girls who are like in their 20s, early 20s, kissing their dads on the lips. I'm not sure if I've ever seen moms kissing their sons on the lips, but let's go around the Discord room quickly. What do you guys think about this whole kissing children on the lips thing?
Yeah, like you said, the last night we kind of touched on it a little bit, but I personally think it's odd, but that's kind of a societal thing. I again wouldn't necessarily have anything to add.
So what's your justification for thinking it's odd?
Yeah, like I said, the society as a whole pushes that right now as a social practice that's done between people who usually are intimate as opposed to,
right,
children.
So one thing Bruce brought up last night was, in Italian culture, I'm pretty sure he's Italian, but in Italian culture, everyone's kissing everyone all the time. It just never stops. So maybe you're right in that sense. Like if it's something the kids see like brothers doing to brothers, and people, but also from like a perspective of like passing germs around, is it a good idea? or like
right.
More than germs, virus.
See how they did with COVID.
Deniability. What's your take on this, man? The kissing children on the lips, like parents like kind of obsessing to get the hug that they need because their life is so shit.
I think it's fine.
You're fine with it.
They're your kids.
Yeah.
And then let's be honest. The thing everyone's worried about is that it might lead on to something else. I put it to you that kissing your own kids on the lips,
right?
If you were going to go that next step that is clearly inappropriate,
yeah,
like kissing your kids on the lips isn't going to turn you into that type of person. You were that type of person to begin with.
Yeah, you're talking pedophile. Like you're
Yeah.
like someone might think, this is a gateway drug to pedophilia, but really everything we know about
totally not.
pedophilia is that it's not like a gateway drug thing. It's not like you'll see a little child walking down the street one day, and because of the outfit they're wearing, it might strike some interest in them. That's just not the way it works. Yeah. So, Alexander, I got to get your take, brother. I see you commented, but let's hear it live on the air.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's fine. I think it shows a level of intimacy to the relationship, and with a young kid, you have that. I mean, at the point, and it's going to be different for everyone, for every family, I think. But at the point it gets weird, you should probably not. but I'm not going to fault people who make that choice or do it for 2 years or 5 years or something like that. If the kid's 12, yeah. I raise an eyebrow.
I think that's okay. That's the easy one. But okay, say the kid used to do this at 11 with the parent. Let's make it the worst we can imagine. The young girl who's just hitting puberty, maybe around 11, 12. And I don't know if puberty matters in this circumstance, but the dad is demanding for her to kiss him before bed.
Yeah, that I'm against, and I kind of said this in the YouTube. I don't think you should ever force affection on or from anybody. And like I said, the level of issue changes, but I mean, obviously, I don't think you can get into much legal trouble if you're the dad and you have the 11-year-old girl. But it's just.
But if you force them,
it damages the relationship. I mean, legal trouble because it's hard to prove kind of thing for just like a kiss or a hug, not like something more serious. But I wouldn't do it. It's not good for the kid. It's not good for the family.
Right. Yeah, it's weird. It's like, no, you're not going to bed until you kiss daddy or mommy on the lips. I mean, there's got to be
harboring
comfortable.
What? Say that again, Chad?
I was saying that just seems uncomfortable.
Yeah, I mean, to me, it does, and I would argue, perhaps, I mean, if you're forcing a kid at that age, there's got to be some. Well, what do you think, Alexander, from a psychology perspective? Do you think that there's potentially some harm there?
Yeah, I mean,
like forcing a little girl who's starting to think about other little boys who she wants to kiss, and her dad with a disgusting hairy mustache wants to kiss her on the lips, and then she asks her friends at school, "Does your dad kiss you on the lips or make you kiss him on the lips before you go to bed?"
Yeah, see, that's just rough because
and even if she wants to, shouldn't the dad be like, "Nah, you're too old for this now"?
Well, someone
what I would say.
YouTube Glitch Gamer just touched on this and said, I guess they heard on Discovery or something about kids at age 8 having opposite attraction, and I don't know if it's that early, but you're just confusing the kid as they're developing that kind of sense when you do that kind of thing. I would stay away from it and let them kind of start to process on their own.
Right, because then if you say that it's generally okay, then you start getting into the point of, where has it gone too far? How what kind of kiss is wrong, and how long is the appropriate kiss? You get into all of these qualifying factors that seem to just be like, why are we doing this? Hugs, I don't think I don't see a problem with hugs. I do have a problem with forced hugs, but in general with hugging, it's okay. It's not locking. It's not because kissing is, more intimate than hugging by almost every standard I've ever seen. I mean, I would say most people have that feeling that if they. It means a lot more to kiss someone on the lips generally than to hug them, because you don't. I mean, just generally you don't. I know in certain cultures, but I mean, even in like Italian cultures, in my experience, it's like the kiss on the lips isn't like as regular as a hug would be, or a kiss on the cheek. What up, Delilah? Hey there, Delilah. What's it like in New York City? Did I win a Grammy yet? Delilah might not have a mic.
I guess I would leave it at if you're the parent in that situation and you imagine your child bringing home someone your age and doing that thing, would you be okay with it? And if the answer is no, then don't do that thing.
Then don't do that thing. Yeah, I mean, yeah, people got to use their heads here, I think. You got to ask yourself, why am I doing this? Like, is it because like the parent needs affection? Not that they're sexually interested or something like that, but just like the affection, the closeness. Let's get into some other comments here. Curious Week says, I remember being really young and my parents made us kiss and hug, or grandparents, but never on the lips, LOL. James Pope says, it's okay in their early years, but when they are old enough, like 5 or 6, it gets weird. Luca, what kind of lips? Come on, man. Bal Diablo says Biden kisses are the best. The Ultimate Pope, what do you think about this?
Yeah, honestly, I agree with many of the things you guys are saying. Like, if it's in the early years, like I would be okay with it, but if like when they're around like the age of puberty, if it's like forced, and if you're forcing it, it's a little weird, and you probably shouldn't do it.
But no tongue,
Or,
right?
just don't.
Not at any age.
No, that's not it. No, not it. Don't even do that with your children. That's just weird. Who would do that with their children?
Well, someone might come along and say, no, this is part of our culture. Like, let's just wrestle with this hypothetical for a second. If we stumbled upon a culture somewhere around the world where they were French kissing their children, what would we have to say about it? And how can you make the moral justification that this is not good for them? And how is this any different than the kiss on the lips?
It's a little interesting to think about French kissing your children because it's a little more intimate than you should do with your kids.
But in that culture,
just-
culture, they might think like, we've been doing this forever. This is as normal as hugging for you guys. We don't hug here. We think hugging is disgusting because it mirrors like missionary style sex standing up or something like that.
If it's a part of their culture and the kids are okay with it, but maybe?
See, that gets into like this cultural appropriation thing. Like, if it's your culture, it's okay because it's culture. But if I look, I draw the line there. I'm going to say that this is locking tongues is a. Well, yeah. I would say within my moral foundation, from a standpoint of maximizing well-being for myself and those around me, I don't see this as being beneficial to the child. Yeah, there would have to be a demonstration as to how this is beneficial from a well-being standpoint. And if they couldn't do it, I would say, well, why are you doing this to your child? Sean Sullivan says, Pangburn, that's why Jesus changed his middle name to fucking. Gabriel Thomas says, what's with Jordan Peterson versus Richard Dawkins in the title? Well, if you read, man, we're doing poll results. And one of the poll questions was Jordan Peterson versus Richard Dawkins IQ. So we'll get to that question. Let's okay, let me pull my window up here again. Okay, well, we touched on that a bit. Let's get to the next question, or we'll be here all fucking day. Is seeking immortality moral? That was a great conversation we had on Monday. By the way, if you guys are not engaging in our daily chats yet, please consider it. You can watch them here on our new channel on the Pangburn Offensive. I'm just going to bring that up right now. YouTube.com. Our new tag or address should work. The Pangburn Offensive. Oh, yeah, it does work. YouTube.com/the Pangburn Offensive. That's where our daily chats will be live. So please go subscribe over there, guys. This is where we, for the most part, do our daily chats. They will be exclusive over on that channel starting quite soon, but I just want to give you all a chance to, just inform you guys of what we're doing over there. But head over to the new YouTube channel. Please subscribe. Drop a like on this video too, by the way. So, yeah. Is seeking immortality moral? What was the general consensus, Alex? Do you think?
I think it was about 50-50. I mean, we had a handful of people on both sides of it.
Right.
No, there wasn't really any agreement by the end. Everyone's like, "Oh, you got an opinion, and you got an opinion, and that's
right.
okay."
It's the pleasure differential, I think, in the end. So 712 votes in, 63% say yes, 37% say no. Let's look at some of the comments here. Let's go top comments. Fewy says, seeking immortality will give insights in many disciplines. Those insights could be the solutions to the problems of today. That's a good point, right? Whenever we're looking at, how to prolong a human life, we might stumble onto things like how to make the human body impermeable to cancers. The real question is, what would we do with immortality by moral? Most likely it would be the result in a system that decides who gets to live and who gets to die to control population. It sounds like we're getting into Thanos there. Thank you by Jared Johnson. Then we got Juan Roca saying the human mind does not think it's going to die. I disagree with that. Our unconscious act as life will continue even when we are very old and the presence of death is imminent. So it's only natural to seek immortality. Yeah, I disagree with almost all that.
Yeah, same.
Yeah. Bal Diablo in the comment section here says, before the Great Flood, humans used to live 900 years of age. According to scripture. My eyes got very wide there. Death is the biggest threat to an unsaved life. It sounds like a deepity, Chris.
Yeah.
You're killing me, Smalls. Okay, let's go back. Let's get into some more. Let me know what you guys think about that question in the comment section. Make sure you like the stream. And if you enjoy this content, please consider subscribing. And please subscribe to our new channel, youtube.com/The Pangburn Offensive. I'm still waiting on YouTube to get back to me about remonetizing this channel. It'll happen one day. So here was an interesting question, and maybe I'll throw this to Alexander and the Ultimate Pope since you guys are in the room. What do you wish you were?
What does that mean?
What do you like? A lot. Some people, and we'll get into some of these answers. Some people said rich. I wish I was rich, or I wish I was dead. Some people said. So what do you? Maybe just take a moment to think about it, and just let me know when you guys are ready to answer. But I'll open up what we got in the comments here. Let me check back in the live stream. Glitch Gamer says immortality is never technically immortality. It's just extended lifetime. So I think it's about how long. See, you're escaping. You're a glitch. You're avoiding the hypothetical right off the bat. You have to assume that immortality has been achieved. Luca Muka says, if we will be immortal, will having children be illegal? I don't get what you're getting at there. Glitch Gamer, if we become... Do you... Go ahead.
I think Luca's pointing at if humans are immortal and they have children who by extension are immortal, the population can
by
never
extension
degree.
are immortal. Okay, because I was just, in this hypothetical, we don't really get information that this will be passed on. But if it was passed on, it's an interesting question.
Yeah, then you got a whole can of worms.
Huge can of worms. Every time people add extra worms to an already wormy hypothetical.
Mm-hmm.
So what do you wish you were? Let's see at some of the answers here. Someone said never born. I responded to this. I said, I hope you join our Discord. It's a great place to sound your existential ideas. They said, thank you so much. We are having a discussion. I said, we are having a discussion right now. They said, I don't see any activity. I said, scroll down to the voice channels. There's a bunch of us in there. And then they said, okay, thanks. Rich, skilled with people, capable. This is by Garrett Guitar. Rich, skilled with people, capable of producing their intentions or bringing them to market. Superman, Batman, one of God's favorite earthly sons. Motivated. Do you guys have one yet? Alexander, what would you say?
I'm bouncing between a couple. I guess my first impulse was to say fulfilled, like the feeling that what I'm doing really matters and has purpose and is meaningful to me, which I don't always feel. Or that I wish I were more, I guess just focused, for lack of a better word. Like,
right.
I know things I want to achieve, but sometimes I'm like, oh, but what about? And I just wish I could actually do everything that I want to do. But, I get tied up in other crap. And
Right. I hear you. Yeah. What about you, Pope?
Honestly, for me, sometimes I wish I was more motivated.
Yeah.
That I want to achieve in life and the things I want to do. It just sometimes I just really don't have the motivation to do it.
Yeah, I hear you. Yeah, motivation is tough. You got to keep those artistic and scientific inspirational meters at full. That can be difficult. What Ultimate Pope, what inspires you artistically?
On an artistic basis, the things that I enjoy doing are mostly revolved around like science.
Okay.
And philosophy. I mean, like looking into a whole bunch of things like determinism.
Okay,
politics.
Yeah, I would say that those are scientific inspiration elements. What is going on in reality is inspiring you. You're trying to discover and look at determinism and what that means. But I'm talking about, in the realm of possibility, in the realm of art, in the realm of imagination. Do you play video games?
I do. Quite a bit.
Okay, you play video games, so you're getting some artistic inspiration through there. Have you ever, do you draw? Do you paint? Do you sculpt? Do you do woodworking?
I'm not like the best at like artistic things like what you've just described.
Well, I didn't ask you if you were the best. I just asked you if you, what are you creating? Are you creating any art ever? Because I would challenge you, Pope, if you start doing some kind of artistic creation, I will bet my bottom dollar that your motivational drive is going to be improved.
I do like writing.
Yeah, man, writing is incredible for that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we'll check back with you maybe after you've put this into practice a little bit and see if there's some improvement in motivation. My answer is simple to this question. What do you wish you were? I wish I was free of clinical depression.
That's a
How
good
about that one?
That's a good one.
Yep. Free of clinical depression. It would just like work would be so, I would be so much more productive if that was the case. Luckily, I've struck a really good balance with some antidepressants and, mindfulness practice and a bit of marijuana here and there. It's a great combination to take the edge off. All right, let's jump into what is the most destructive ideology. This one has 213 comments. So obviously, people care about ideology here. What do you guys? What's your guys' answer to that? The most destructive ideology. I'll throw one out there. One of them is definitely, if you want to call it an ideology, I think it really is actually, or it's become one, anti-science as an ideological structure, like to be adverse to science.
Yeah, that's a pretty bad one, honestly.
It's kind of
Yeah.
Being against science
That, and I
is
think
probably one of the most destructive ideologies.
Yeah, and I get
I would
people's
say.
gripes when scientists get political with scientific findings and they try to mislead people into thinking something's worse than it is, and it becomes this political game and it's not science at all. I understand people's gripes with that, but they should not be angry at the scientific method. They should be angry at, well, they shouldn't be angry at all. They should be fighting to change and engaging in the war of ideas against the specific scientists who do that. Go ahead, Alex.
Oh no, I was just gonna say like the anti-science isn't good, and the people who think that they can do one study that happens to fit their narrative and
Right.
say that that's science, that's equal. Yeah, I mean you're not anti, but it's not any better.
Right. No, I hear what you're saying. Yeah, so let's look at these. Trust. Here's an ideology. I don't know if this is an ideology. I guess politics. Trust me, I want to help you. Any politician. Totalitarianism in all its forms, if that counts. That's by Tony Ross. Leo Mulgrew says, "No one's safe until everyone's safe." It looks like some people are writing down some ideas, not really ideologies. Any ideology by force, yeah. Although the an ideology like we're all going to, we have this ideology of obeying the law. I mean, is Timothy May going to argue that obeying the law is a destructive ideology? I would think not. Fascism is there. I think a few people wrote fascism. Theism.
Yeah, I can agree.
Yeah, go ahead, Paul.
On fault isn't necessarily a destructive ideology, but how you necessarily carry out how you obey the law could be destructive in some sense.
Mm.
Like if you like follow the basis of the law, it's a pretty good. But if you see somebody who just steals a candy bar, and you straight up arrest them and put them in jail, it's a bit extreme.
Well, yeah, all that's gonna be based on your moral foundation, right? What laws are extreme and which ones are okay, and people are constantly going to disagree on those because they disagree on what is good and what is bad from a moralistic standpoint.
Everybody will always be disagreeing about what is good and what is bad and what isn't good or is bad. Right. Yeah, nobody will.
Well, one thing you can say, Ultimate, is that, you can point at certain laws where you're going to find almost everyone agrees. And I think that's what laws attempt to do. And, you know, if you think children should be protected from sex predators, you're going to find very few people that disagree with that law, the laws surrounding that.
There are laws that basically everyone agrees with, like don't kill.
Yeah,
don't rape
I mean,
children.
I would say like not necessarily don't kill, but don't commit first degree murder. Like planned. Don't call a hit on your spouse. Just leave the relationship. Don't kill your children to start a new life. Give your children up for adoption. You know, there's
so many other options that you could do other than murdering someone.
I know. People, it's really sick when these stories of people just offing their children because they're too much of a nuisance for them and this idea of a new life they want to live. If that's the case, give your children up for adoption, you fucking
Yes.
All dogmatic ideologies are dangerous. The carnivore diet, Islam, nationalism. I'm sure Christianity's in here. So Judaism, communism. I don't see democracy here.
Yeah, I would say that some religions have a pretty destructive ideology. Like some religions have different teachings. Some religions have similar teachings, but
sure. Oh, I gotta go back up. In what way have you contributed to humanity?
Okay.
I mean, Alex, you work with patients from a therapeutic standpoint. You've contributed in that way.
Yeah, I guess that's a contribution on the individual level. I haven't done it for long enough to feel really great about that sentiment yet, but maybe down the road I'll have helped enough people. I'm like, oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Cool. Cran E6490. Get a new fucking name. No, I'm kidding. There's no number one answer that can be easily singled out as the pinnacle of the worst. It seems a toss-up between fundamentalism, dogmatism, totalitarianism. It's as if there is some unifying factor that encompasses all such thought process. Luca says you have to create law structure that flavors society so that you agree to randomly start at any given point with everyone else. Ooh. Cran says by acting as though God exists and the lack of my best leaves the void for something worse to take its place, as learned by JBP. By acting as though God exists and the lack of my best leaves the void for something where can you try to simplify that, try to clarify that, simplify what you're trying to say there. All right, let's get to okay, we did let's read a bit of in what way have you contributed to humanity. Let's read here. Tony Ross says, my influence is relatively small. I'm a decent supervisor at my workplace. I've been in the same place for a while now, and together we've built a culture of cooperation and openness. There is no bullying or strong-arming people into taking on too much work. Everyone is self-motivated and proud to take responsibility over their work. Day-to-day workplace stress is extremely low. Not to put too fine a point on it, and hasn't always been the case. I suspect the culture we have now is strong enough. Okay, so he's talking about, okay, in the next stage of my life, I might become even smaller. Interesting. But no matter how things go, I know at the very least, my wife and closest friends will be better off because of me. That's a great comment. Chris King says, mainly farts. They bring laughter into people's lives. That's how you've contributed.
Great contribution.
just explosive farts. Svendar says music albums distributed and listened all over the world. Interesting. J Squaresy, regular here on Discord, says, by not contributing, I have contributed?
Might be also.
Yeah, also.
On
Yeah.
accident.
By not contributing, I have also contributed. Interesting. Classic non-answer. Reducing my carbon footprint when I can, giving some cash to a person on the street, being kind. Nice. Raising my 2-year-old with respect and zero violence. Doing whatever needs doing at the time. By commenting my brilliant thoughts on YouTube community posts. By Grosty. That's good.
Some of these are interesting.
Yeah, they are. Being born. I give my servers unreasonably large tips, and that's about it. I fix things for people. I like punching people in the ego. Right in the ego. I don't breed, says Dodgy Philosopher. Spelling. Just by existing. The reality is that no one does, at least not much, except for a very few. Whoa, weird. The reality is that no one does, at least not much, except for a very few. Interesting. He's trying to hypnotize me. Someone says, I talk about God. Okay. All right. Now we're to this question. Who do you think has a higher IQ, Jordan Peterson or Richard Dawkins? If they were to sit down with Mensa, Alexander, and Pope, who do you think is going to score higher on an IQ test? Who's got a higher intelligence quotient?
It's a really difficult question.
That's rough.
I mean, both of the people there are really, 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 really smart.
Yeah, but
intelligence
quotient isn't a measure of smartness, right? It's just the the intelligence quotient of your brain, the essentially the computability. So imagine these guys sitting down and imagine the kinds of exercises that you're faced with. Jordan's going to score very high in the language portion. I think Jordan might beat Richard in the language portion.
Totally.
And I think in general, and I've spent a fair amount of time with both of them. And it's it's 2.5K votes in, 51% Richard, 49% Jordan. I'm going to say that by a few points, a really small differential, I think Jordan Peterson would score a bit higher than Richard.
I would agree.
Right now. I think Jordan has more speed. Like his speed does matter in these tests to a certain degree. I think Jordan might have the slight edge with his IQ, but not much. Like they're in the same block range, I think, within a range of 10 points varied. Interesting. What's your guess, Alexander?
I don't know. I don't know either of them particularly well, aside from, things I can see on YouTube.
Right.
I could go either way. On impulse, I would say Dawkins, but I'm totally open to being swayed on that.
Yeah, me too. And I mean, these are supposed to be, fun MLG Frog says at Pangburn, what is your IQ, Travis? Well, I have had my IQ professionally tested multiple times. Your IQ tends to start going down by a few points as you get older, but I'll give you a range. So I'm in the range between 140 and 170. I'll give you that range. That's my IQ range. Does tech cause... God, we got to get to the answers here. Obviously, people who prefer Jordan or Richard will say that their favorite has higher IQ. I don't think people should do that, and I trust that people are, because we've seen polls and people's comments before when it comes to this IQ guessing game. Which it is, guys, it is, this is supposed to be fun. And, what does your intuition tell you about how you see the mind working, at the speed it works, at the accuracy of certain things that they're pulling out of their interlocutor or out of their environment when they're engaging. So and then you have their work to look at, and some different things, which the work doesn't necessarily give you an idea about their IQ range. So a lot of this is just a guessing game, right? But I've seen people who are like, when we put Sam Harris versus Jordan Peterson on this same question, a lot of people were like, I'm a huge Sam Harris fan. I'm not a big fan of Jordan Peterson, but I did vote Peterson for X reasons. So I think some people come honestly to these polls, but I think there are, of course, like Internet Wanderer said, there are going to be people who come in here and just say, Richard's my favorite. He wrote The Selfish Gene. He's way smarter than Jordan. Well, we're not talking about smartness. Let's go for sure Dawkins, and this is coming from someone that was a fanboy of JP. Keyword was, you're biased. Nathan Rawlings is triggered. Both are smart guys. We're not talking about smartness. People need to stop confusing smartness with IQ. IQ means essentially fuck all when it comes to smartness, like smart works that you've read of people. It means precisely dick. You can have someone with a 140 plus IQ that sits around and plays with their Johnson all day and never does anything and is never challenged, and the potential of their mind is never really brought to fruition, and they might work as like a bartender for their whole life because that's the key pleasure drive in them, regardless of what their IQ may be. Both are smart guys. They're probably very close in IQ scores. Jack Stevenson, I agree with you on that. They both have way higher IQs than their average critic. Oh yeah, those guys are, they're in the 140 plus range, 150 maybe. I think Jordan said he was tested when he was younger, and he was around like kind of at his prime. I think he said was around 150. So he would be in that, it's all the the medications that you have to take to simmer down your clinical depression. These are going to have an effect on your attention, your attention span, your attention to detail in these kinds of testing. So, medication, anything that's, try drinking a fifth of whiskey and take an IQ test. Or smoke a ton of pot and take an IQ test. But make sure you do the test between both. It's extraordinary. You forget that you're taking a test. And if you guys want to get your IQ tested, go to Mensa.com and they'll give you a place close to where you live where you can go get it tested. But like I said, your intelligence quotient means fuck all outside of, you know, what your brain, the computability of your brain. It's kind of like your brain speed, and also when it comes to abstract concepts, the computability speed and quality will give you a bit of an upper hand in those areas. But it's not a given, right? You still have to have the drive to want to acquire necessary knowledge for concepts, and not everyone with a very high IQ has that drive at all. Nathan Hoffman says JP has a smooth brain. Oh man, that guy does not have a smooth brain. I think I could not disagree more with that artistic interpretation. Jordan's brain is pretzeled and like this. It's kind of like the Elephant Man brain. So many different things, so many different pretzels being created. Go ahead, Pope.
Be like the most wrinkly brain in history.
Yeah, well, it's very like worked and like suffered brain, and it's got smoothness to describe Jordan Peterson's brain. So wrong.
Yeah. I would.
Glitch Gamer says, is there a free online legit IQ test? So there are, but when you do find one, and just do some research, you'll find ones that Mensa actually recommends as tests. You'll have to pay for them, but do them 5 or 6 times. Some of these free versions are way too short. Do them 5 or 6 times. The random generators will give you different questions each time you do them, and then you'll get a really good reading of what your intelligence quotient is. But if you come back with like you thought you had a high intelligence quotient, but really it's, you know, closer to average intelligence quotient, again, I need to stress it has nothing to do with smartness. And these general ideas, which are very general about, you know, if you in general, if you have a higher IQ, you have a higher chance at career success. Understand that means fuck all when we get down to the individual level. It means fuck all. So it's just your intelligence quotient. Don't go jerking off if you score very high. Don't go killing yourself if you score very low. Cool. Let's move to why don't I read this? There are a couple ways you can further support Pangburn. Become an official website sub and get access to our monthly Q&A sessions with world-renowned thinkers. www.pang-burn.com/subscription. But seriously, join us for our Q&As. We've had Stephen Wolfram. We've had Michio Kaku. We've had Lawrence Krauss. We've had many others too. So join us. We've got Jesse Lee Peterson. Beta. That was amazing, by the way, that Q&A. It was so entertaining, so funny, and there were some really good exchanges, fiery exchanges between people, Q&A guest attendees and Jesse Lee Peterson, and the other ones were great too. One of our regular Discord personalities, Loki, had some really good exchanges, technical exchanges with Stephen Wolfram. If you guys want to check that out, that Q&A exists on this channel. But you guys, I really appreciate the support. If you can, YouTube has taken away all revenue from Pangburn. Yeah, times are tough. You can also shoot a donation through PayPal. Every little bit helps. www.paypal.me/thepangburn. Oh yeah. Oh, and I have to get in a fake, since we're on the advertising thing, I really, really have to get in a fake advertisement right now. So here is a fake inside joke commercial break. We will be back after these messages. Straight from France, the land of fine wine. Dao who, you say? Relax into a zen-like state with VHS Tape 1. while the Frenchness of his facial hair absorbs you into a contact high of Alice in Wonderland-like acid. Listen to his voice lead you off a cliff with a smile and a sense of comfort. Vive la France with Dalsu. Dal who? CultVHS.com. Thank you to Dalsu. Dalsu runs our weekly conversations on Wednesdays tomorrow. And he's a Taoist. He really likes to get into the deep existential questions. And those conversations are a lot of fun. MLG Frog says, at Pangburn, can you get a higher IQ by preparing for them? Yeah, so Mensa's going to tell you to do workouts, get your mind worked out, and get used to taking IQ type questions. And yeah, working out is going to, but only by a small fraction. It's not going to take you from like 130 to 140. It's not. But by a few points, it will if you're prepared and you're ready. And again, substances, make sure you don't have substances affecting your mind. It's going to affect your score. It can, for the most part, you're not going to take anything that's going to improve your score, but you're going to be able to take a lot of things like marijuana, alcohol, that's going to fuck your score up in a bad way. But no, it's not about prepping. Intelligence quotient testing tries and is successful of escaping any of these bias. Now, there is some disagreement about like certain cultures have a disadvantage because, for instance, they don't understand the natural progression of an arrow from a clock perspective. So there is some basic language knowledge that you have to acquire in order to take an IQ test, especially if they're doing the full breadth language testing, spatial testing. There's a lot of different things they're going to test. Memory testing. So you, work it out, but it's not a way to really vastly improve your IQ, because that's not what intelligence quotient is. Your intelligence quotient is fixed. You know, it's fixed in the way that you can't go work out and read books on intelligence and improve it. It's meant to be, you know, you go in fresh, clear mind, you have a basic understanding of language, and you get thoroughly tested, and there's your intelligence quotient. That's what your brain can do from an intelligence quotient perspective. Okay, let's go to what else we got here. Okay, we did that. Does tech cause moral change? Do you guys, Pope and Alex, do you guys think tech causes moral change? For instance, the deniability was talking about the development of the steam engine and how that made it possible for us to abolish slavery. What do you guys think about those arguments?
I'm not exactly sure how much of a huge impact technology would have on morality per se. It would have an impact, but I'm not exactly sure if it could change moral positions.
Right.
It could, and I could totally have my mind changed, but I'm really not sure.
Yeah, it could. I guess the question is, does it? Does it, when you look out at society, do you think it... Oh, I see Alexander's muted. I didn't have... where's my thing? Oh, there we go. Yeah. Okay. So Johnny Watkins says, I don't think it causes moral change, but some technology is good at hijacking our reaction. In other words, I don't think it changes you as much as takes what's already there and uses it for its own ends. Die Manor says it creates educational opportunity. Education crosses borders. People get educated in their opinions, and moral values change. It also possess some new moral issues. For example, getting married to robots. Sure. Yeah. Technological change, this is by Ben Scroob. Technological changes create moral shifts. I think a lot of major ethical advances, not all though, have been a result of technology changing to reduce the need for ethically questionable practices. Oh God, someone said, what do you mean by tech?
Oh.
Jesus Christ. I got to say this to everyone out there. This idea of coming to a poll to say, well, it depends on what you mean by X, and then saying nothing more, that is retarded. It's retarded. It's not, it's, stop doing that. I know some of you have heard Jordan Peterson say, well, it depends on what you mean by X all the time. It's not a smart thing to do in discourse. If you want to say that, if you want to allude to the fact that people might take terms differently, you can say that if you feel you need to, but answer it based on how you use these terms or how you see these terms being used. And someone might disagree with you and you can have a conversation about that, but give your bloody answer to the question. Don't just think you're done by saying, well, it depends on what you mean by morality. We all know that. You're not coming up with anything genius. We all know that. So stop doing it. You know what really grinds my gears? That was one of those moments. Okay, let's do a couple more here. What is your worst habit, Pope?
Probably laziness.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would say that's probably my worst habit. I always feel bad about not exercising, but if I ever send a designated time and place to exercise, I just end up laying in my bed and playing video games.
Yeah, I hear you. But like I said, we got to get you out of the gaming is the only way to find pleasure and enjoyment. Like we gotta, let's take the scientific inspiration out into the world to see what we can discover on a trail somewhere, or out walking, maybe interacting with people, but I know what you mean. I get in those funks sometimes as well. Brittany M says, thanks for calling that out. Haha, so annoying. It's like some pretentious trend. I see that shit all over the place. It grinds my gears. Well, it depends on what you mean by that. No, it doesn't. Answer the fucking question. Sit those people down in the Pangburn interrogation. Prepare to be interrogated.
It's your worst habit, Travis.
What's that?
Your worst habit.
My worst habit. Lack of self-care. 100%.
Yeah.
That's always been a problem for me. Let's say I'm in a relationship with someone. I bend over backwards too much for that person. I don't take care of my own needs. I carve away too much of myself. When I'm single and alone, living alone, I don't do enough things to better my own well-being, and I really have to remind myself of that. Like it's this constant thing of and there is some Jordan Peterson phrases in here too, like clean your room, to keep things in order, try to keep your life orderly as much as you can. And sometimes I do my best work artistically when I am in disorder, but when I'm trying to do something more academic, like writing my books right now, I gotta have things in order, and that can be a struggle for me sometimes. So I would say my worst habit, keeping up with the self-care, and maybe I shouldn't, I wouldn't throw well-being in that, because I don't feel as though my well-being is being harmed, but it's more of a goal setting and achieving a goal of feeling,
I can see what you
of having my life feeling clarified. Because I do better academic work when I'm feeling clarified, and when I'm feeling in disorder, unclarified, it seems like my artistic work is more fruitful or more interesting from my perspective. But yeah, it is what it is. But I would say that encompasses where my worst habit, for sure. Guys, by the way, later on this afternoon at, I think we'll start up at around 3 p.m. Pacific time. We're going to be over on the Pangburn Offensive. I'd love to smash you guys in some chess matches. So come and join me over there. When I say that, you're probably going to destroy me because I'm kind of new to chess, but I like playing chess. It's fun for me. And we'll play some chess, and we'll have an open Q&A. This will be at around 3 p.m. Pacific time, so I hope you join us for that. We'll do one more question here. Make sure you guys are subscribed to the new channel, by the way. I'm going to pull it, youtube.com/the Pangburn Offensive. youtube.com/the Pangburn Offensive. This is where our daily conversations between all of our Discord personalities happen. And do you want to be one of those Discord personalities? You can call yourself whatever you want. You can be totally anonymous. Oh wait, what happened here? Did I move the wrong thing? But anyways, here's the this is what I'm looking for. Here's the Discord link. I hope you join us. We engage in good faith conversations every day that are helpful. Those are the rules of the Discord. Any ideas are fair game to be put to the test. And, you're not allowed to tell people to get the fuck out of here, man, with that, or like all that stuff. So we do police very closely good faith discourse and helpfulness and defamation, of course. So those three things. We have an amazing panel of moderators and admins on the Discord server that make sure that our conversations are staying on track. We also have an online tavern, which is a lot of fun. We go into Trav's Tav almost every evening. There will be a group of people in our online tavern where we just have general conversations. Sometimes they'll break into philosophy, sometimes into science, sometimes into art, and other times into just personal stories about our own adventures through life. So Discord, join us. I gave you guys the link there. It's all free, and you just have to click on the voice channels and jump into a conversation. Amanda A says, habits, physical or emotional, smoking, physical, ew, gross, and indecisiveness, really disruptive. Haha, wait, maybe not. That's funny. Oh, I'm trying to get back to. Well, you know what? I'm gonna cap it off there. We'll keep this to an hour. Thank you guys who stopped by. Join us later in around 3 hours time. We will be live over on the Pangburn Offensive. Let's play some chess, and you can ask me anything. But thanks to Alexander, thanks to Pope for giving their input. And Glitch Gamer, Amanda A, Brittany, Luca, MLG Frog, Sisyphus, DQF. Thank you guys so much for engaging in the chat. We'll catch you next time. This has been Pangburn Poll Results, and let art and science inspire.